Okay, so today we're diving into something that I think a lot of people are going to find really interesting.
Yeah.
It's about modern dating and all the challenges that come with it.
For sure.
And we're going to be looking at some data from the Pew Research Center about something they call dating singles.
Okay.
And this is a really specific group of people, and I think it's going to be eye-opening to see what the data reveals about them.
Yeah, definitely.
So dating singles, just to be clear, we're talking about folks who are not married, not living with a partner, not in a committed relationship.
All right.
But they are actively looking for a romantic connection.
Mm.
And what's so fascinating about this is that there seems to be a real difference in the number of single men versus single women who are actively looking to date.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to kind of unpack today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are you ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it.
In the data skies, we take our flight. Trends and numbers come to life. Colors and charts, they dance and play. Showing truth in a visual way. In GenderDecoded, we uncover truths and stories like no other. In the data waves we find the secret maps of humankind.
The big question we're tackling is, are there really differences in the numbers of single men and women looking to date at different ages?
Yeah, that's the curiosity gap we're diving into.
Right. And guess what? The data says, drum roll, please. Across all age groups, there are consistently more single men actively looking to date than women.
It's true. And to make this a little more visual, I think it's helpful to look at this bar chart that breaks down the data. It highlights some key takeaways.
Okay, walk me through it.
All right, so first up, just like you mentioned, more single men are looking to date than women across all the age groups.
Yep, seeing that right here.
And then the second thing is, for both genders, the percentage of dating singles, those actively looking for relationships, it decreases as age increases.
Which makes sense.
Totally. People are more likely to settle into relationships as they get older.
Yeah, I mean, life happens, priorities change, right?
Exactly. But here's where things get really interesting.
Okay, hit me.
The biggest gender gap is actually in those younger age groups. We're talking 18 to 29-year-olds. There's a difference of 2.29%. And between 30 and 49, it jumps even higher to 2.94%.
Whoa, that's a pretty significant difference. Like, that translates to a lot of people.
A lot of people indeed. And that really begs the question, what's driving this trend, especially in those younger age groups?
Yeah, what is going on there? Why is such a big gap?
Well, it's important to remember we're speculating a bit here, based on the data trends.
Sure, yeah.
But one potential factor could be, societal expectations, right? Women often face this pressure to settle down earlier in life.
Oh, yeah. I hear that all the time.
Right, and that could lead to, fewer of them actively dating in their 30s and 40s compared to men.
Yeah, it's like maybe more women in their 30s are already in those established relationships, or they're focused on building families.
Exactly. And, we can't rule out career focus either, right? Women are increasingly prioritizing those professional goals, which could also lead to delaying relationships.
Okay, yeah, all of that makes total sense. But then the data shows this really interesting shift. As we get into the older age groups, that gap, it shrinks like crazy. We're talking down to just 0.5% by the time we hit the 50, 64-year-olds. So what's happening there?
Well, as we look at these older age groups, we see what could be a catching up phenomenon. More women might be re-entering the dating pool after experiencing things like divorce or becoming widowed.
Right, like life happens, relationships change, people change.
Totally. And on the flip side, men in those age groups might be less actively seeking new relationships,
Focusing on other priorities, right?
Exactly, like retirement, travel, or just enjoying their hobbies and interests.
Okay, so if there are, consistently more men looking for dates than women, what does that even mean for the women who are dating? Do they have more options? Are they getting overwhelmed with messages? What about the men? Are they facing way more competition?
That's a fantastic question and a really important one to consider, It adds this whole other layer of complexity to the dating scene.
Right. It's not just about finding someone. It's about navigating this whole landscape.
Exactly. And unfortunately, the data we have thins out quite a bit once we go past that 65-plus age group. So there's definitely a lot more to explore there.
Yeah, lots more to uncover. So, to recap for our listeners, it seems like the dating landscape isn't exactly this level playing field, right? Men and women are navigating it in different ways. And those differences, well, they shift and change as we age.
For sure.
Which leads us to a final thought-provoking question for you, dear listener. Given these trends, what do you think this means for the future of dating? Are we headed towards a more balanced scenario, or will these gaps stick around? Think about your own experiences, your observations, It's definitely something to ponder.
Food for thought.
Absolutely.
Gender-decoded, truth unfolds. Binary turns into gold. In the pixels, truth be told. Watch the mysteries unfold.
Never know what secrets are hiding in plain sight, just waiting to be uncovered.
And who knows, maybe we'll deep dive into some of your discoveries next time.
Until then, happy exploring.